iodine.org. Today we're going to be covering a very important element, a mineral called iodine. First thing that we try to step into is the understanding of the best forms for you to purchase iodine in if in fact you're going to supplement with it. Okay? The best form is in a form called kelp. It's the most active form. And kelp is, as you know, kind of a seaweedy type of a product that if you can actually get your iodine form in kelp form, it is the easiest absorbed and easiest on the body. The OK form is potassium iodide, which is often added to salt. And salt's another good place as long as you use iodized salt. If you're in the Midwest of the United States of America, it's really a very, very big issue to make sure that you get it. One of the dirty secrets on minerals, it's important for you to know that when purchasing iodine in this case, you must first find out the total amount of the iodine that you want and make sure that how much of it is part of that complex. In other words, if it was 10 milligrams of iodine, which would be way too much, but let's say it was 10 milligrams and it was potassium iodide, we don't know if in fact 9 milligrams of it is potassium and only 1 milligram is iodine. Okay, so the point of it is, unless it clearly demarks it on the label, you many times will be purchasing something with the idea that you're getting a certain dose and you are not. Nothing that we carry at Physicians Premium will ever list anything else than clearly on the bottle the amount of the element you're getting so that you clearly understand. The cheaper the product gets, more than likely, the less likely you are to get the real element, the real mineral, in this case iodine, that you need. Okay? To be a vitamin, or should I say to be a mineral, that's important for you to have. Minerals are an organic substance, meaning that it's vital for your life, but your body is not able to produce it. So if it's not able to produce it on its own, and it can't be synthesized by the body, you either have to put it in your diet or you have to supplement with it. Okay? I see it frequently in my office. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that's not uncommon for us to have that problem in the Midwest. Okay? Synergists are those elements that should be taken at the same time that iodine is taken if your doctor has supplemented you for it. Okay? Iron, manganese, and phosphorus. Phosphorus is so much in the diet you probably don't have to supplement, but manganese and in some cases low doses of iron are productive, mostly if you're a menstruating female, just so you know. I always show a picture of broccoli. The reason why I do is because if you now look at all the things that are in broccoli, it's an inordinate amount of stuff, isn't it? And the reason why I put it up there is if you're not willing to eat fruits, vegetables, and a reasonably good diet with lean meats, grains, etc., let me tell you, the likelihood of you having a successful, healthy return back to health without eating fruits and vegetables, you're one that's not going to do it as much in raw form as possible, and you're still giving those sweetie cereals to your kids in the morning and calling that a breakfast. Let me tell you what, it isn't going to happen. These kids are going to suffer and your family's going to suffer, and it's not worth the expense and time that you spend in doctors' offices when you can prevent most of this right at home. Here's an apple. You get a good look at it. It's just an unbelievable amount of elements that is nutritionally rounded in a way that keeps your kids and yourself healthy. Eating fruits and vegetables, a mandatory part of life no matter what. Kids won't eat it? Yeah, they'll eat it. You just aren't making sure of it. What's interesting is I find so often that the parents are the cause of the kids not eating it. Father won't do it, mother won't do it, both don't do it, kids don't do it. In fact, they hate to sacrifice their family's way of doing things even for the well-being of their own child or their own spouse. And that shouldn't occur. It just shouldn't occur. We're not here for that reason. We're here to help each other. Okay? Conditions that this nutrient really seems to help: thyroid dysfunction. It's frequent in thyroid problems for those that are dealing with thyroid problems. Goiter. There's something called a Broda-Barnes test that checks your temperature in the mornings that gives you an idea of thyroid function or dysfunction is your primary issue. And I only mention that is because many of you have got blood tests back from the doc, and the doc says, well, blood tests look pretty good. So, it's not your thyroid. You must be depressed. Let's write you an antidepressant. Okay? Guess what the truth is? It's a good possibility that you really do have an issue with your thyroid and that it's not functioning well, even though the blood tests show it's normal. Found out a long time ago talking to a pathologist that he said, well, you know, we got these cells and we count them. I said, well, how do you know which cells are working well? He looked at me and he goes, what do you mean working well? I said, well, they don't all work the same, do they? One's working at 70% capacity, another one 100, the other one 20, the other one's about ready to be destroyed, but you're still counting them as a normal cell, aren't you? He said, well, yeah, that's right. That is true. We could have half of them not working right. That is true. Guess what that means? Blood test says you have a normal cell count, but your body isn't functioning up to full capacity of the thyroid function. That is very possible. So don't give up, ladies. Keep pursuing. You're the one most common with this issue. Food sources, seafood. Remember, if you have problems with arthritis, shelled fish should be avoided in most cases. Iodized salt, sea salts, sea vegetables, and kelp. And sea salt, by the way, is the best way to go because it has all the elements that are going to make sure you have highest absorption of iodine already built in there. So the risk group, people who avoid dairy, seafood, processed foods, and iodized salt. Okay? All right, just so you know. Toxicity is almost impossible unless you are soaking yourself in it. It just doesn't happen. And guess what's interesting? The medications you take for thyroid dysfunction often are the medications that interrupt iodine getting into the cell so that it functions well. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Work with your doctor diligently. Recommended RDA dose is 150 micrograms per day. Remember, RDA is what's necessary to keep you alive. It is not what's necessary on level to help you thrive. Some of you will need higher doses, and some of you will only need this dose. You'll have to experiment with that, okay? So what we know is, in Dr. Benzinger's advanced information, thyroid dysfunction, iodine is the central molecule in a thyroid hormone. It must be present to allow the development of that hormone, and thus the furnace of the body itself for your well-being and your health. So guess what? If in fact you're taking Synthroid or one of those medications that's interfering with iodine ever getting into the body and being utilized, guess what? That's why a lot of people go on that medication and never, ever, ever come off. Okay? So when it comes to iodine, possible benefits, thyroid dysfunction is one of the primary areas that it works in. And is that a primary area? That is the furnace of your body. You with cold hands, cold feet, cold all the time, hard to get going in the morning, got to drink way too much coffee, thyroid might be your issue. Okay? Iodine, an important issue? Absolutely. Appropriate use, working with your physician that's knowledgeable in this area, which many are not, is an issue. So you might need to work on this yourself, as well as finding another physician that might work in this area a little bit more with you or diligently with you to give you a chance at trying to get your wherewithal back. And thyroid dysfunction is very, very common. Look at Secrets of Vital Health. It'll tell you lots about this type of stuff, and it'll help you clarify as to how you should approach it. We hope you've enjoyed today's information on iodine. This is Dr. Benzinger on Health with secondopinion.org. We'll look for you next time. May God bless you.